The Sahara. It is one of the world's largest deserts, occupying much of North Africa. When we hear the name, images of vast amounts of sand and scorching heat often come up in our minds. It would surprise you to learn that the Sahara is not just a sandy, uninhabited desert. There is more to it than meets the eye. For example, did you ever think something fascinating lies beneath this colossal desert? I know you didn't, so stick around to find out. Geography. The desert covers a total area of 9 million square kilometers. This area is roughly equal to half the size of Russia or the whole of Brazil. From north to south, it measures up to 1,200 miles, approximately 3,000 miles from east to west. It is the world's third largest desert, trailing behind the Antarctic and Arctic deserts. The desert is also nearly the size of the United States. The Sahara covers more than 10 countries, which include Algeria, Chad, Egypt, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Western Sahara, Sudan, and Tunisia. This area accounts for about 30% of the entire continent. Just imagine 30% of an entire continent occupied by a vast desert. The desert is particularly renowned for its dunes, with some being as high as 180 meters, which could equal the height of a building with up to 70 stories. Despite all this fame, did you know that the majority of the Sahara is not just filled with sand? The sandy desert amounts for only 20% of the entire Sahara region. The remaining 80% is predominantly filled with rocks and cliffs. Today, there aren't many people living in the Sahara. It has less than one person per square mile. You'll go for miles without seeing any plant or animal life. Water, of course, is almost non-existent. History. This might surprise you, but the Sahara wasn't always a desert. Scientists theorize that the Sahara was a blooming and vast paradise in the past. Why, you would ask? Well, the answer is simple and direct. Once upon a time, the Sahara was fed by different water sources that facilitated plant growth and suitable living conditions for animals. Desert formation. The obvious question is, how did the desert come to be? An extreme lack of rainfall distinguishes a desert. Being on the wrong side of the mountain is one of the primary reasons of a low rainfall area. To comprehend this, consider the behavior of air and moisture when they come into contact with an obstacle. Consider a weather system coming in from the west and colliding with a north-south mountainous region. The damp, warm air that rolled up against the mountain's base will now start to rise and form clouds. However, as the air rises, it begins to cool, causing moisture to be released in the form of precipitation. The air is primarily devoid of moisture by the time it reaches the top of the mountain range, save for a few clouds that don't produce much precipitation. The mountain's east side is known as a rain shadow, and the air will descend and warm up but will be devoid of moisture. This frequently results in hot, dry winds, which can hasten the formation of a desert over thousands or millions of years. The Sahara's present appearance could also be attributed to changes in the Earth's orbit, making rainfall in the area inconsistent. These changes impact the amount of solar energy that reaches the Sahara because the higher the solar energy, the more rain across the Sahara. In comparison, less energy means less rain across the Sahara. The climate of the Sahara has always been erratic due to these changes. For thousands of years, it has alternated between humid and dry conditions. That changed somewhere between 8,000 and 4,500 years ago. The area transitioned from humid to dry much faster than usual, and it has remained dry and devoid of rain till today. Some experts believe that human activity is to blame for the change. They discovered that plant life died out as humans moved across the Sahara. According to one theory, early humans allowed goats and other livestock to overgraze in the Sahara. As a result, there was less moisture in the area. It also caused topsoil erosion, preventing plants from growing. The use of fire by humans may have also exacerbated the problem. Climate. Over millennia, these weather patterns and topographical factors have resulted in a land devoid of any vegetative cover, as there is often little water to support life, and their ever-changing landscape makes root systems challenging to develop. These deserts are also susceptible to temperature shifts because they quickly gain and lose heat. Deserts, unlike jungles and grasslands, can't effectively hold onto heat, so while they may be extremely hot during the day, the ground does not hold that heat into the night, resulting in drastic temperature shifts that barely support plant and animal life. As you'd expect of a desert, temperatures are extremely high during the day, averaging 30 degrees Celsius, with the highest temperatures recorded as 85 degrees Celsius. At night, the temperatures tend to be 13 to 20 degrees Celsius. Beneath the Sahara. Scientists have discovered evidence of a prehistoric mega lake beneath the sands of the Sahara Desert. When the Nile River pushed through a low channel near Wadi Tushka 250,000 years ago, it flooded the eastern Sahara, creating a lake that covered more than 42,000 square miles at its peak. Images collected from a space topographical mission depicted this large lake and a much smaller lake covering 18,600 square miles. Geologists discovered the evidence of this lake while studying Egyptian radar data. The team, led by renowned geologist Ted Maxwell, pieced together the profile of the mega lake using images of wind-blown sediments and the bedrock topography as had been observed by the radar. However, the lake was eventually bound to dry up. This was because the water level kept receding and evaporating faster than it could replenish itself. The lake eventually dried up and was covered by sand. Another fascinating feature discovered in the Sahara is an oasis that scientists discovered in the southern oasis. An oasis is fertile land in a desert or semi-desert environment. It's a corner of heaven in the scorching heat. The oasis discovered in Egypt, known as Kasiba Oasis, was identified using space shuttle topography data. Recently, the oasis was plowed for melon farming. Scientists estimate that the Nile once flooded the entire Kasiba Tushka depression of Egypt, creating the giant lake, using fossil fish found in deposits some 250 miles west of the Nile and at 810 feet above sea level as a marker of the lake's highest shoreline. The scientists determined that human settlements near Selima and Tafawi in Egypt directly correlate to a lake covering approximately 42,000 square miles, placing these settlements in desirable near-water regions. A different set of archaeological sites near Kasiba, 93 miles west of the Nile, suggest a second, lower level of the lake at 623 feet above sea level, covering an area approximately 18,600 square miles. The geologists also calculated the size of the second lake using the elevation of the Tushka Channel, which once carried Nile water into the desert. These new lakes add to the growing evidence of numerous early and middle Pleistocene lakes in North Africa that may have supported human migration patterns. Recently, scientists also discovered the existence of prehistoric aquatic life in the depths of the Sahara Desert. The sea was 50 meters deep and once covered 3,000 square kilometers of what is now known as the world's largest sand desert. The marine sediment it left behind is rich in fossils, allowing the scientists who published the study to create a picture of a thriving ecosystem. Interestingly, one of the scientists claimed that between 100 million and 50 million years ago, northern Mali, predominantly arid, looked more like modern Puerto Rico. This study also officially named the geological units, putting the area on the geological map for the first time. The study showed how the sea fluctuated and shifted over its 50 million years of existence. It gathered data on the KPG boundary, the geophysical marker of one of Earth's 5 major extinction events, during which non-avian dinosaurs became extinct. Scientists studied fossils and sediment in present-day Mali for 2 decades to create an accurate picture of this prehistoric environment. They deduced that the body of water was warm and shallow and home to 5-foot, 1.5 meter long catfish and 40-foot, 12 meter long sea snakes. It is believed that most, if not all, were predatory. Creatures of such lengths are unimaginable, but how did they get so big? The Trans-Saharan Seaway connected what is now Algeria to what is now Nigeria. That means it spent long periods isolated from larger bodies of water. This type of isolation may have limited predators while also ensuring that resources are always available, which is a perfect recipe for a species to grow unchecked. This region experienced intermittent isolation from major seas, an environmental variable that may have created aquatic endemism centers, enhancing gigantism as previously observed for terrestrial island species. Endemism occurs when a species is restricted to a specific geographic area. Extinct fishes that were giants compared to their modern-day relatives, mollusk-crushing fishes, tropical invertebrates, long-snouted crocodilians, early mammals, and mangrove forests all lived in the sea, based on fossils discovered on the expeditions. The researchers also came across fossil evidence of sharks, turtles, and a small land mammal said to have been a relative to the ancient elephant. They discovered this during field expeditions, which were carried out under challenging conditions. Scientists also discovered the ruins of a people group known as the Garments. This people group established a large community in the Sahara Desert between 1 and 500 CE. They even grew crops using their advanced irrigation knowledge. Conclusion: the Sahara Desert is still expanding today. According to experts, it is at least 10% larger than it was a century ago. Researchers estimate that natural changes account for roughly 2/3 of the growth, with climate change accounting for the remainder. With all the discoveries that the scientists and archaeologists discover, the hopeful question comes up: will the Sahara once again become the beautiful green paradise it once was? Looking at how many incredible feats we've accomplished as humanity, it is entirely possible. It's also true, however, that this would take many years of human effort and natural climate changes. All the same, it is fascinating how this vast wasteland holds so much historical treasure beneath its sandy and rocky terrain. What else might hide beneath the vast sand? A lost treasure, perhaps? Perhaps you'll discover it and be the first to unearth the hidden depths and make a discovery that will blow the world away.